Doves is a 6-part festive thriller available to watch now on Netflix that follows the entwined lives of two spies, Keira Knightley's Helen and Ben Whishaw's Sam, as they attempt to navigate a deadly conspiracy and pull off the perfect Christmas dinner. As champagne bubbles away in tasteful glassware, secrets bubble under the surface, and we're here to unpick all the subterfuge. In this video we're blowing all the twists and turns wide open, so make sure you've watched all episodes of Black Doves first to avoid spoilers. Ready? Let's get down to business, darling. To fully understand Black Doves, you need to know who works for who. Just about everyone in Black Doves is a spy or killer of some variety, bar lovely Wallace Webb, his and Helen's kids, and that drunk Father Christmas at the beginning. So let's break down the key players. At the centre of Black Doves are the Black Doves. Run by Spy Master Reed, they infiltrate networks of power by embedding sleeper agents into the lives of political figures. Daisy, aka Keira Knightley, poses as Helen to marry up-and-coming MP Wallace Webb. We also see the process playing out again as Danny, another Black Dove, takes a job as Wallace's secretary, ready to slip into his life if Helen fails her mission. Sam also works for Reed to help train the Black Doves, though he leaves the organisation to become a triggerman, a killer for hire, in 2014. Next up, the CIA. Headed up in the UK by Mitch Porter, they're pulled into the story when China suspects them of murdering their ambassador to the UK. Chinese authorities point the finger at Cole Atwood, an undercover CIA agent, but this is a red herring. Cole is dating the ambassador's daughter, Kai Ming, in order to spy on her drug dealer, Trent Clark. More on him in a second. Despite his duplicity, Cole had no hand in the murder, and at the end of the show, Helen gives him footage exonerating him.
Show it to the Chinese, you're in the clear.
Flying the spy flag for Britain are MI5, a largely unseen presence throughout Black Doves, but vital to the story. At the beginning of the show, we see the deaths of Jason, Helen's secret lover, and Maggie, the killings that set Helen's investigation in motion. It's only at the very end that we learn that Maggie was an MI5 informant, spying on Kai Ming and the Chinese ambassador, while Jason was an undercover agent sent to sniff out spies infiltrating the British government. Spies such as Helen.
So it was all just a play?
Yes, their relationship was a sting operation to catch a Black Dove in the act, but Jason's genuine feelings for Helen meant he refused to reveal her secret. Now that's true love.
That sounds a bit like love to me.
Finally, we have London's assassin community. Run by handlers such as Lenny Lyons, these killers for hire sell their skills to the highest bidders, meaning they shift alliances throughout the show. Williams, for example, is first hired to find Kai Ming and the Clarks, more on them in a moment, before Lenny employs her to threaten Sam into killing a drug dealer called Hector Newman. She's later hired by Sam to help kill the same Hector, proving that money really can buy you anything. Williams works with Kent until Kent ends up decorating the wall of Jason's flat and then teams up with Eleanor for the rest of the show.
Right, ladies, hold on to your fannies. It's go bang time.
We also meet Elmore Fitch, paid to kill Helen by the Clarks, but underestimating Keira Knightley's handiness in the kitchen. Rest in peace, Elmore, or, rest in shed. As if the waters weren't already murky enough, there's another organisation lurking out of sight. The Clarks. Run by terrifying matriarch Alex Clark, this is a crime family with so much pull they have the Prime Minister in their pocket. They're what happens when gangster muscle meets political influence. The Clarks' bloody fingerprints are all over Black Doves. They're responsible for taking out Hector Newman's drug operation, explaining the high body count Sam stumbles into while hunting for Hector. They murder police chief Stephen Yarrick to threaten both Helen and tie up some loose ends. And they're also very big on sinister phone calls, always going by repair shop, which is ironic given the damage they do throughout the show.
We have your friends. They are currently alive.
Key to the whole Black Doves mystery is Alex's son Trent Clark, a drug dealer and horse enthusiast who sets events in motion with a tiny little push. Which leads us to the killing of the Chinese ambassador. Chen's death hovers above the whole show. We hear about it in the first 30 seconds and it comes to dominate everyone's lives. Wallace is desperately trying to de-escalate tensions between China, the UK and US, and our network of spies and killers are all chasing a video recording device that holds the truth of his death. The reality is simple. It was an argument that got out of hand. Trent Clark was Kai-Ming Chen's drug dealer. Lured to her apartment by her father, he argued with Mr. Chen and pushed him into a table with a fatal bump. At this point, the Clarks' influence kicks in. Bent Police Chief Yarrick comes to clear up Trent's mess by faking the ambassador's drug overdose and deleting nearby CCTV footage. He also proves that the Prime Minister is aware of the cover-up.
To phone the Prime Minister? He'd be fucking furious.
All done in the name of maintaining ties with the influential Clarks. But how does the ambassador's murder lead to Jason's death? This one's also on Trent Clark. It turns out his mum knew nothing about it.
I wasn't even asked. I never ordered that hit.
It's also the result of a tragic series of misunderstandings. The murder in Kai-Ming's apartment is recorded on a device belonging to jeweller Maggie. She set up the secret camera to harvest gossip she can sell to tabloids and hand over to MI5. Maggie's newspaper connection is journalist Philip Bray, who watches the footage of Yarrick covering up the death and approaches Wallace for comment. When Wallace mentions the journalist to Yarrick, the frightened police chief informs Trent Clark. Trent has Philip followed back to Maggie, and Maggie brings in Jason. She trusts him as he's also working with MI5. So even though Jason has nothing directly to do with Kai-Ming or the ambassador, he's implicated by association with Maggie, and Trent hires Elmore Fitch to assassinate him.
Be quiet.
I wanted to fix what I had done. I wanted to prove I could handle myself.
Now the most crucial question of them all. Will Black Doves get a second season? Luckily you don't need to be a spy to crack this one, as a second season has been announced by Netflix. That gets a big sigh of relief from us, as huge questions already hang over the future of Helen, Sam and friends. For starters, as we leave season 1, Wallace looks destined for number 10. Dodgy Prime Minister Eves is implicated in Yarrick's murder cover-up, and people are eyeing the Defence Secretary for the job.
You could actually be clean. That's good to know.
Infiltrating the Prime Minister's office would be a huge result for Reed, but would Helen be able to survive that level of scrutiny? Does Helen's mission success also mean that Danny is out of the picture, or is the wannabe Mrs. Webb back in training for a second head-to-head? Next time, maybe do it somewhere with fewer smashables. We're also curious to know more about Helen's past life as Daisy. Earlier scenes clue us in to a stepsister serving a prison sentence for murdering her stepfather.
What can you tell us about a woman named Bonnie Weir?
But during her confrontation with Alex Clark, Helen seems to imply she had a hand in stopping a dangerous figure from her past. Could there be more to the Daisy family saga than the authorities know? We're also desperate to know what life looks like for Sam now that he's struck a deal with Hector Newman. The two have a complicated past. Killing someone's 3 brothers will always put a strain on a relationship. But Hector's patronage could grant Sam some protection from the Clarks. Remember, he's just killed Alex, Trent and their mysterious secretary, and vengeance has been promised.
You have been watched, and you will be held accountable.
And most crucially of all, is Elmore Fitch still in that shed? Season 2 can't come soon enough. Until then, we've got no choice but to pour another eggnog and sit down for a rewatch of Black Dove Season 1. Who knew Christmas could be this deadly? Why not share your hopes and dreams for Season 2 in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Still Watching Netflix for more videos like it.